and gentlemen, I hope you are having a fantastic day. If you're new to the channel, my name is Parker Nierenstein, and this is Vehicle Virgins. Today we are going to talk about my 2015 458 Speciale Aperto. In my belief, it is one of the greatest cars, especially one of the greatest Ferraris ever created. It is so much fun to drive. Naturally aspirated V8, 9,000 RPM redline, 590 plus horsepower, 0 to 60 in under 3 seconds, and it is absolutely stunning. But it is not without its shortcomings. Given that current modern day values of this car, because it's appreciated and will continue to do so, is $700,000, there are certain things that you'd expect with the Aperto to be a little bit better than they are. In fact, there is one thing that I hate so much about the car, it almost makes it undrivable. I'll talk about that a little bit later, but let's go over some of the negatives of the car. Come around here. For one, the interior in this thing is absolutely gorgeous. We have this contrasted two-tone, carbon fiber everywhere. It's very sparse. It's a race car for the road, so you're not expecting a bunch of creature comforts. You don't want the best sound system ever. You don't need massaging seats. You don't even care if it has Bluetooth, which it actually has, and the speaker system's not bad. But the material quality of some of the buttons is actually abysmal. So check this out. I'm gonna hop in the interior here. Now, some of the buttons are phenomenal. For instance, the paddles, if you can consider those buttons, feel really, really nice. The Manatino dial, absolutely awesome. The engine start button, fantastic as well. But what about the mirror controls? This mirror control button here is so flimsy that within 2 days of ownership, I actually broke it off of the car. Now we've got the VDA control here. It just feels kind of like a cheesy, cheap plastic touch panel. Everything is beautiful, hand-stitched leather and carbon fiber, and to have a button like that, it just doesn't feel great, and especially the first week of ownership to break this off without using it aggressively was pretty annoying. Now it gets even worse when you step to this side of the console. This is the volume button for the speaker system. Like I said, it's actually not that bad, but it feels like it's gonna break off at any moment. This actually isn't supposed to go side to side. It's only a turning knob, not some sort of controller. This is a controller. It does also feel like it's gonna break off. Now, these are the controls for the window switches, which not only go up and down, but they also go side to side, and you can twist them, and they feel like they're just about to snap off at any moment in time. And that's kind of scary. But before we get to the next reason, I want to talk about the sponsor of today's video, World of Tanks Blitz. I've been playing this game recently, and it is a ridiculous amount of fun. It supports crossplay on iOS, Mac, Windows 10, Steam, and Android. They're highly intense battles and super customizable as well. World of Tanks Blitz recently collaborated with vehicle designer Peter Pound of the movie Mad Max Fury Road to create 2 epic new tanks. There's the Gravedigger with thick armor and a powerful gun. There's also the Scavenger, which is one of the most popular vehicles with good traction and a huge engine. They just came out with an entirely new game mode for Halloween called Mad Games, where you battle in a raging sandstorm arena to claim post-apocalyptic tanks. It's especially fun when you're playing with friends. Alex actually caught me the other day in the heat of the battle. Roll the clip.
Hey, what you doing?
Here, hold on a second, dude. Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! Come on!
Click the link in the description below to download the game and play it for free. Seriously, it's awesome. Or go to spons.org/vehiclevirgins. Let's get on to the next reason. The next thing I hate about the Ferrari 458 Speciale Aperto is almost a safety issue. Now, this is not the thing I hate the most, but it's up there. Now, in normal cars, you have some sort of carpeting. In some cars, you even have Alcantara for where you put your feet in the footwell. But in this car, because it is super lightweight, they've gotten rid of the carpeting for weight savings. Below it is this sort of, it's supposed to probably look like titanium. I'm guessing it's actually made out of plastic material that has this relatively cool pattern on it. The problem is it doesn't create a lot of friction with your foot. So when you're going into a corner, sometimes your actual foot slips around on the brake. And I find that absolutely terrifying. If you're wearing dress shoes, for instance, that have slippery bottoms, on carpeting, it's no problem at all. On this, it's nearly deadly. Really, your only option is to wear really sticky rubber bottom shoes, and usually those look like Skechers shape-ups, and they're not really the best pairing for something as sexy as a Speciale Aperto. Would I not buy the car because of that reason? Absolutely not, but I really feel like they should have put some sort of material. Even though they have this separate foot pad here, they should have made it better, maybe even made of carpet or Alcantara so your foot doesn't slip. This next part is a blessing as well as a curse. It can be seen as a positive as well as a negative, and it has to do with the value of the car. What am I talking about? So they only made 499 of these. They actually made somewhere around 3,000 Speciales and basically infinite 458s and 458 Spiders. Because it's rare, and because it's a Ferrari, which is essentially the king of appreciation, next to I'd probably say Porsche, especially the older air-cooled Porsches, this thing is going to continue to go up in value. The 488 Pista is nowhere near as limited. The Pista Spider, I don't even know if they're limiting it whatsoever. In terms of total production numbers, they're going to make a heck of a lot more than they made these. And the Pista Spider, not designed by Pininfarina, so it's not quite as good looking, although I love the way it's really menacing actually. And it's not naturally aspirated. This is the last naturally aspirated hurrah. High revving V8, beautiful engine response, no turbos, and nothing like this is ever going to happen again. So it's going to be worth a lot of money someday. Already is, but I anticipate this being a several $1,000,000 car. Now the problem with that is being afraid to drive it. And how many miles can you put on it and actually enjoy it without worrying about depreciation? So every mile you put on this car, it gets it closer and closer to becoming the highest mileage Speciale Aperta. Now the highest mileage one I've ever seen is somewhere around 5,800 miles. Now you're thinking the average American drives 12,000 miles a year. Imagine owning this car for 10 years and knowing that you don't want to be the highest mileage one in the world. So you don't want to exceed 5,800 miles, which really isn't that many. Which in a sense takes some of the driving bliss away. If every one of the Aperta owners decided that this car is essentially based on and is a 458, so it's reliable, then they shouldn't be afraid to drive it far. Now I realize it's a collector's item, I realize it's expensive, but this car at heart is beautiful to drive, an incredible machine and reliable, so I feel like everyone should just drive it. Instead, if everyone's keeping the miles low, then it really limits the entire market. I'm afraid to drive this thing far because other people haven't driven it far. If all the Apertas had 50,000 miles, I would be happy taking this to 50,000 miles. How many miles am I gonna put on it? I don't know. Do I wanna become the #1 highest mileage Aperta in the world? Part of me does, and part of me absolutely doesn't, because that means I then have the cheapest Aperta in the world. But value is a very interesting positive and negative of the car. Now I know some of you are gonna say, you are literally whining about owning a car that's going up in value. And to that I say, I literally am. Okay, another little side note, what on earth is this button? Now it's the front left button, but it looks like a taxi on some sort of, this is the ugliest button I have ever seen. At least like make it look kind of like a Ferrari or something. But what is that? What, are you serious? What is that? Now we are on to my least favorite part of the Aperta. Something that annoys me so much, and I don't understand why they did it, that it almost made me contemplate selling the car. And that is how low not only the rear diffuser, but the sides of the rear bumper are off the ground. So as a comparison test, I've got my 2015 Lamborghini Huracan here. Now I realize it's not a Performante, it's not the special edition, but the same holds true for that car. I've actually got an aftermarket rear diffuser that makes the diffuser lower to the ground. So let's see how many inches off the ground this thing is at its lowest point. Now at the front tips here, we've got 6.5 inches off the ground. Now how about the sides of the bumper? Once again, 6.5 inches. Now, I've measured all the way back there. You're never gonna really see scratches there, but it's about 6 inches at the absolute lowest point of the rear diffuser. Now, come on to the Ferrari. This is one massive piece of beautiful OEM carbon fiber. In fact, this is some sort of composite as well. How low is this to the ground? Well, this is the terrifying part. The lowest part is here and here, right? As I said, 6.5 and 6 inches. How low is this? That is 5 inches off the ground. So an inch lower to the paint. And then how low is this beautiful carbon rear diffuser? 4 inches. It is 4 inches instead of 6.5. That extra 2.5 inches makes all the difference in the world. Now that is one of the weirdest things I have ever said on Vehicle Virgins, but it is true that this car is so low that I have scraped. Okay, now that we've taken a mental break from that comment, driving this car stresses me out because of that. In fact, the rear diffuser is significantly lower and more of a hassle than the front of the car. Now it has a front lift. The problem is when the front lift goes up, the rear diffuser tilts down and gets even lower. So it's not getting into driveways that's the problem in the front. It's once you're already through it and you're like, oh, I'm already clear. I cleared the front. That rear diffuser, it's gonna scratch. Would it really make me sell the car? I hope not, but it has been an absolute struggle. And I know a lot of people who have bought Carrera GTs that have even lower ground clearance who have had a similar issue. All right, on to the last one. The last thing that I absolutely hate about the Speciale Aperto, now it doesn't really pertain to me, but if I were to work on the car myself, if it were to be out of warranty, really the only reason I'm not working on the car myself is that Ferrari is quite particular. Want to make sure that it's all up to date with maintenance records. It's done at a Ferrari dealership so that I don't get crushed with depreciation when they wonder why some 24-year-old was just tinkering on it in his driveway. But if I lift this beautiful piece up here, you note that you can't really see any of the engine, like at all. We've got the air intakes, we've got the power steering reservoir, we've got carbon fiber everywhere, but the actual plenum and the heads and everything is actually, the entire block is over here. So I'm not sure how you're actually supposed to gain access to it. Now I know if you put the convertible top up, it doesn't change anything. You have to actually remove a panel. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pop the top up real quick to show you a panel that you have to move and unbolt using, I'm sure, bespoke Ferrari tools to even get to the engine itself. Let's go ahead and put this down. And what I'm gonna do is put the top halfway up. As you can see, now that this is up like this, you can't open that, and you have to remove all these little rivets in here just to get to the engine, which is now blocked by this, which is blocked by this. It just doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. But overall, I mean, guys, I'm complaining about some small things here. The car is absolutely brilliant. It's one of my favorite cars in the world to drive. I believe that I'm gonna keep this car forever. I have no plans to sell it. Driving it gives me joy, but it does, like all cars, have some downsides. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Like always, please browse the channel and subscribe. I look forward to seeing you next video.